Hi, welcome to another GamingNight. This week we'll be playing 221 Baker Street, the Master Detective game. In 221 Baker Street, you take on the role of Sherlock Holmes himself. You will be traveling through the streets and alleys of London, picking up clues and attempting to solve some of the most intriguing cases Holmes and Watsons have ever faced. First player to figure out the correct answers to a particular mystery or crime and return to 221B Baker Street and announce the solution is the winner. We're going to take a look at the components and show you how you go about this. The game is afoot. Alright, this is basically what the board looks for 221 Baker Street. I put the dice there just for and then the starting spot's right there. So what you're going to do is you choose a case. You can start with 1 if you want. In this case I pulled out case 20. And you're basically going to read the adventure fast, and then you're going to read it slow. And then you're going to do the back as well, fast and slow. And all these places here are places on the map that, on the board you go to get clues. There are red herrings, there are no clues, there's parts of clues, and how that works is you're going to go in the book and you're going to go to clue, and it might say killer clue 2 parts, and it'll give you like something like, hey diddle diddle the cat and the fiddle, and you will then, so if that was at the bank, you'd have like 30 seconds to read it, and then you'd say, okay, I went to the bank, cross it off, put the clue in there somewhere in this little street that no one will play. And if you have a Scotland Yard card, so let's say you went to the bank and got a clue, you could block off the bank. So block off the bank, another player would have to use a key to get the clue. You can either do it to prevent them from getting a helpful clue, or it could be a red herring that you know it's a red herring, just to throw them off your scent. So there are some player interactions with the game. So now there are some areas like the museum here that has 2 entrances to it. You would have to have one here and one here to close it off. But you only get 1 key and 1 Scotland Yard. You can never get more than 1. So it really prevents you from doing too much hosiery. So let's say the bank, the hey diddle diddle, whatever. You're thinking, okay, maybe I need to go to an inn or something, or a bar or something, a pub. I think there's a pub. Yeah, pubs, and then you go to the pub and stuff like that. And the way the game works is you roll a dice and you move that many spaces. So if this guy was to move, he'd move 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't go diagonal, and you stay there. And you can't enter a building unless you're in front of where the arrows are. So you'd be referencing this. You can read the front and back anytime you want. So like I said, you may study a clue for up to 30 seconds, and you are on your honor to look at only the clue you're entitled to see. Once you put the clue book down, you may not pick it up again to recheck the clue. So there are 2 basic types of clues. There's a general statement, and then there's a puzzle clue. General statement simply just gives a statement of facts about the case being played, such as Billy Joe has a bad case of acne. So then the other one might be the puzzle clue, or something like it says killer, and it says a wise bird that hoots. So that would be like a clue, and if it says how many parts it is, that means you got to find the rest of the parts to help solve it, because sometimes you may not be enough information to go ahead and In this game, once you got enough, once you get whatever the card in the back calls for, like case 20 calls for A, you must reveal A, the killer, the weapon, and the motive. So once you think you've got all the information, the right information, the killer and all the motive, you then will turn to the back of the book and you read the case number that you're on. And you read it, and if you get it right. Now, the way the game works is if you said lead pipe, the person was killed by a lead pipe and it was a baseball bat, you'd be wrong. Even though they're both, you know, like a heavy object to hit someone with. It's not a blunt object, but there's a difference between a baseball bat and a lead pipe. Same goes for if it said, if you said the murder weapon was the murder victim, like for example, was strangled, and you forgot to identify that it was a rope that wasn't, you said bare hands, you would be wrong. You know, they were strangled by a strangulation, you'd have to know that it was a rope that caused it, not the bare hands. So the details are important. If you're wrong, you're completely eliminated, and the other players get a crack at it. So and of course, if no one gets it right, everybody loses. So yeah, it's a few spots on the board that are important. Is if you're on the carriage spot, you can either get a clue here, or you can just go from here to anywhere on the board and take the clue there. So the carriage depot is a pretty good spot. So if you need to get somewhere on the board, it'll take you pretty much, it'll take anywhere you need to go. And of course you have to get to 221 Baker Street before making your claim, which is right here. So you have to get all the way back to the board to get back to start in order to make your claim. So you can't just make your claim anywhere you want, you have to get back to Baker Street. So you have to be on your toes with the clues, getting clues. There's luck with the dice rolls, but to me the roll and move isn't such a bad thing, because this dates back when like games like Clue were around, where roll and die move games were part of how you did things. So there are variants where you don't do rolling and move, but it's not going to be much of a problem for me. I mean, I remember, at least you can't host someone completely like you do in Clue, where you can just say, oh, I'm going to drag you over here, even though you're trying to get here. You can't do that in this game. This one, you can only, you know, use those blocks to prevent people from getting in and out. But I mean, all you gotta do is go to the locksmith and get a key, and then they can unlock it. So I mean, you can't completely host somebody, and you can't just spend all your time locking someone off. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere in the game either. So this is basically how to play 221 Baker Street. I'm looking forward to playing this with my friends this week. So